I talk a lot about how difficult video games can be, but there's not a lot of them that actually take that step into becoming games that make you want to throw your controller against the wall. Cuphead, Super Hexagon, Doom on Ultra Nightmare, Afterbirth Plus, Mega Man 9 are all games that prefer difficulty over consistency. Not to say that the games are bad, but they're all incredibly difficult. But with these games, you know exactly what you're getting into. Specifically, roguelikes are a source for difficulty. You look at Dead Cells and think, oh, that's kinda cool, it's like a platforming Dark Souls. Except Dark Souls had checkpoints. Sorry, fucko. You look at Darkest Dungeon and think, oh, neat. It's like a co-op horror dungeon crawler. That's a cool idea. And for the most part, that's true. You'll be having a co-op experience with the second personality you've made, and the real horror comes from having to deal with all this dumb shit without a wiki. Darkest Dungeon is unforgiving and crushingly difficult at times, but it never relies on its difficulty. The game knows that it's difficult, but it still gives you all the tools you need to survive, even if the game itself seems to be working against you. You have all of these classes that can synergize with each other beautifully, but you also have to deal with an extensive amount of vomit that the game throws your way to even have a chance. There are 4 slots that a character can go. Each slot caters to a different role. You have the front 2 slots where your super damage dealers go, you have the 3rd slot for your range and status afflictors, and you have the very back slot for healers. Unfortunately, this means literally nothing because enemies will attack whoever they want. You also have bosses that are balanced in such a way that a 1v4 situation somehow still isn't favorable for you. You can have one run where you complete the dungeon without fighting any enemies, or where you hardly take any damage, and then the next run you'll run into this fucking thing. Darkest Dungeon is very clear on what it wants you to do. You're able to go to the final area of the game at any point, and it's displayed very clearly that this is what you're working towards. It's very compelling. Each dungeon that you complete grants you rewards with items that you can equip to your characters and heirlooms to upgrade your town buildings. However, you'll always be scrambling for heirlooms because they're so rare, and there's no way to obtain them other than adventuring. So you end up with all this excess gold and nothing to spend it on, which leads to a never-ending loop of going back into the dungeon, getting more gold and slightly more heirlooms, and the cycle continues. Darkest Dungeon manages to be brutal, crushingly difficult, and yet fair at the same time. The game is actively working against you, but you have all of the tools needed to actually handle anything thrown your way. Sure, you could get hit by a random crit every now and then, maybe one of your characters dies, but nothing will ever compare to losing your healer after putting all of your best healing items on her. Shit hurts.